Okay, hello, welcome back to another game of chess. Today we're facing the move d4. I'm going to play c5 here, the old Benoni. Now, in my opinion, they take. Often, it's not a good idea for white to take this, because we just get to play e6 and recapture with the bishop, and playing b4 isn't a good idea for a5 related reasons. Now let's just develop. We've got a bishop in a nice place, and generally speaking, d4 players... Oh no, okay, I thought we had some tactic here. You know, I thought we could maybe go check, and then pick up this, but the queen holds that square. Unfortunately. What if, though? What if with your bishop vacating the defense of b2, we swing the queen to b6, put pressure on b2, and of course, line up that battery towards f2 next to the king. A very classical, kind of auto-schnapp-like idea. Almost like an opera game idea, but with black instead of white, of course. Now, I don't see what you do immediately to stop this problem, because knight a4, for instance, we can go check. The king's going to have to move. And then you're assuming, right, that something... What? What? Okay, the bishop holds this square, so we don't have, like, an immediate checkmate in one. However, my queen's hanging, and so is my bishop. This is very interesting. We could sack the queen. Take the knight, they take, and then we take backwards with our bishop, and we get two pieces and a pawn for the queen. I don't think we have, you know, enough open lines for that to be justifiable yet. Okay, so we could play queen b5, check, and after you take this, I could just grab the knight here. In fact, if I go here and you take this, we could play knight takes e4 first, and then pick up the... Yeah, you know what? Queen b5. We hid the knight. Yes, you can take my bishop, but then the idea that I was sort of hinting at before. Knight takes e4? The thing is, knight takes e4, we win a pawn, we hit the king, we hit the bishop. And yes, our queen's hanging, but obviously the king is hanging, so to speak. I guess, where does the king go? We have two pawns for the bishop, and we're going to be able to recapture the knight here. And if the king approaches my knight, for instance, trying to take it, saying, okay, now your knight's hanging, your queen's hanging, we get to take their knight and also defend our knight at the same time. Wow. Okay. Let's just grab the knight. This has to make sense. Now, this is not a move, which maybe we should be thankful for, because these dark squares are looking extremely exploitable right here. But at this point, I'm just up two pawns. Your king is on e3. That's not a good thing. Although, to be fair, why am I trying to defend this knight? If the king takes it, it's on e4. King e4 is not how you want to start a game. Okay, they do attack my queen. What do I go for here? I guess if I do want to hold on to the knight, what, queen b4? It seems to make quite a lot of sense to do that. I'm trying to work out what the follow-up is. What, a3? We could go check. And then if the queen blocks, we trade the queens and then pick up the bishop. So here, like a3, check. If the king takes my knight and is then cut off from its retreat to its happy home by my queen on c3. Okay, right. I want to start with queen b4. If you do play a3, I just think if our opponent wins king of the hill, that's just going to be like too funny to stop from happening. Again, your bishop is still hanging. The thing is, what I need to do is really, like as quickly as possible, develop some pieces, because we're not going to be able to exploit this king until we've got some open lines, some pawns claiming some space in the center, that kind of thing. They do play a3. So queen c3. Oh, sorry, if queen here, we could also take the rook, I guess. I think I mentioned that I'd trade them. I still might trade them, actually. But here, you take my knight. The king is then on e4. I guess I play check. And your only move is king f4. And then I play check, held by the queen. Is that not mate? With the bishop opening up, holding these two squares, the queen slicing across here. I think queen c3, king takes, d5, king f4, e5 is checkmate with the... This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. How on earth did that happen? Just, I guess, a terrible move from our opponent. Let's analyze that game. Okay, so here we are in the analysis. Apparently, I made a mistake in this game, which was, in fact, playing the pawn to d5 check. Instead, I should have played pawn to f5 check. The only reason it was a mistake is because after d5, they can give me their queen. And then after they give me their queen for 2 pawns, they can take the pawn here. I would go so far as to say, now I might be crazy, but that black is doing better in this position. I'm not too concerned with that, although I guess f5 would have been cleaner because after king f4, e5, king takes, and then d5 is checkmate. That's actually a bit disgusting. That's actually even more dirty. Oh, I kind of wish I'd played that. However, as Oasis said, we should not look back in anger because this checkmate is also a pawn checkmate in the middle of the board on move 13 against a 2250 rated player. What? Okay, so I mean, d4, c5, you'll see in the Masters database that seldom do we see takes. Only 4% of the time do we actually see this Benoni gambit accepted. Then after e6, the point is that you cannot hold this pawn because then a5, and if you try and hold it with the a pawn, then takes, and you're losing your rook. And if you try and hold it with the c pawn, then takes, queen f6, and you're also losing your rook, or giving up a knight to then hold the rook, but you're still losing a full piece. So, seldom a good idea to go for b4. I mean, I guess it's playable as long as you don't play one of these moves. Yeah, you have to play like b5, but then this hangs anyway, and it's just not obvious that this was even slightly justifiable. So, opponent takes, and then I take, fine. And you see I'm doing a little better here, actually, although knight f6 is supposedly slightly more accurate for whatever reason. Okay. Knight f6 here. Now e5 is a move. With knight d5, if they take, and then play queen takes, then I have queen b6. And apparently, there's a master game that's happened in this line. And this has happened, and then the king's just moved. Okay, who knows? I mean, I guess knight f6 is a little inaccurate because of e5. But honestly, I was kind of happy to make that trip. Was I happy? I think I'm lying, actually. I think I'm lying to all of you right now. And the actual answer is, I didn't even consider e5. However, neither did our opponent. And they played bishop g5, which is, it says mistake, but honestly, it goes from what? Okay, I guess +1 to -0.3, but it's still relatively, this is still no doubt playable for white. I then played queen b6. And apparently this has occurred in a game between, do I even try either of their names? Ngok Truong Sun Nguyen. I really hope I haven't butchered that. And Lorenz Maximilian Drabke. Right. Anyone who speaks either of the languages that these names originate from, please tell me in the comments if that was horrible. But now, the idea is that there's this problem and there's this problem. And the move white should have played is queen d2, because after I take here, they can go rook b1, because the knight's now held. Queen a3. I guess they just carry on developing. And although I've won a pawn, they have an open b file, they have a bit of a lead in development, they have all sorts of things that I potentially wish I had. And apparently it's zeros, which doesn't mean a draw, but it means balanced winning chances. And I guess I have the move bishop here. Oh, but then rook b3, okay. And here, then a3, and then takes. And I guess in any endgame, the point is that we would then just be slightly better because we're up the pawn. So, and also these are like isolated. However, our opponent went for a not so great move with knight to a4. I took here, which I'm tempted to think they didn't even notice I could do. Although maybe they thought after b5, they could take here, and if I were to take the knight, things wouldn't be so bad. I don't know. Like, if I take here straight away, actually, my advantage isn't so meaningful. Like, they can trade this. I'm up just one pawn, and their king's probably going to end up just being really safe after a few moves and then king g1. Still, I'm clearly better, but maybe they missed that we could take here. King e3 then. Take here. b3. And then we went queen to b4 to hold on to the knight. And then queen c3. Best move. Giving up the knight. The point is, if queen had gone here, I mean, yes, I could have taken the rook. Probably also just trading, picking up the bishop for free. Again, that seems like an easier, completely winning position for me. Although, actually, wait, is my knight trapped? Okay, so it turns out my knight's trapped. That's a little less than ideal. So maybe it would have been ideal to go for the rook instead. And then why on earth is king e4 better than queen e4? We can go here, the king moves, and then pick up the bishop. Unreal. Anyway, so we went check. They took, and then yeah, we went d5 and e5 checkmate. The only move would have been queen takes. And yeah, as I said, we did miss this idea to sack the pawn and then play d5 mate. Unbelievable. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. A little bit of a shorter one today, of course, a 13 move game, but an absolutely disgusting and resounding win for day 4 of the WTCCC. A 2250 absolutely dismantled and their king checkmated in the center of the board with a pawn on move 13. Tune in tomorrow for a Louis Charles Mahe de la Bourdonnais game recap, a beautiful game that will absolutely bamboozle you all. This is kind of to continue the, romantic 1800s chess era recap series. At least I think that's what I'm going to be uploading tomorrow. Maybe I'm not. Who knows? I guess you got to subscribe and wait around to find out. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow for another video. Comment something. You can literally comment the word something if you want. Let the algorithm know that you're interacting with this video in a meaningful way. And thanks very much for watching. Goodbye.